The next morning. Okay, time to get going. Who's taking point today? Good clouds.
You're the one controlling.
Let's go back to Sam. I've done that since the beginning. I'll do it. Hey, Brad? Yeah? Stay safe. I love that smile. What? I'm not the one who's fighting. Yeah, I knew that. Anyways, let's go!
You are Sam. You spare no time in climbing into your mech's ribcage. Don't feel comfortable with the youth pastor around. I feel that. You don't want to start anything, but something about that guy just doesn't sit right with you. You grab the shoulder meat and strap yourself in. You keep rules in your life, and those rules keep you safe. Rule 1. Never trust anybody who has power over you. Rule 2. Keep quiet, keep your head down, never let anybody have power over you. Rule 3. Never admit weakness. Weakness means letting people have power over you. You whisper your name and shove your neck onto the nerve spike. Contact. It's a lonely way to live, but it's the only way you know how to survive. You have to be strong. You have to be the protector. You are roots among ash.
The bitter cliffside air makes you cough as you stand. Sam has the dash and then the big punch.
Yeah, I saw this dude.
No, I was saying to myself to also let you guys know that I didn't need to see their abilities again. I've got this.
Do you,
Yeah.
your power is basically electric slide.
Electric Boogaloo.
You would kill at weddings.
So...
Maybe literally.
Oh! Hello, Mimi Big Boy.
Mimi big.
Okay, this one's gonna be tricky.
Well, first you gotta get behind it.
Have you tried punching it? Like,
This
real
is
hard?
a truth in both sumo wrestling and Meatpunks. First, you must get behind it.
Oh yeah, you see that? You see that slap?
Oh, nice.
So I think something we should talk about real quick is the idea of weakness meaning that people have power over you. Because I think one of the that is a mindset that also sort of, I would argue, leads to some kind of capitalist mindset in terms of
In terms of
Hergersberg.
Burgers,
Oh
burgers.
Jesus! Oh Lordy Lord! Oh youth pastor.
Ed.
Oh Ed.
Oh, Ed. Oh.
Oh Ed. Oh
You
nuts.
sound like my...
Op-ed. Op-ed.
Okay, so I'm gonna be in the middle for a second, and that's okay.
This is where you live now.
But, okay, I'm torn in terms of, like, weakness as both, like, a political and a religious thing. Because, like, part of me feels like I don't want to say the best way, but a good way to combat, like, excessively physical, really sort of manly, brutal, cruel force in society is to, like, admit to weakness. Like, I think a lot of the reason I haven't fallen into as many, like, toxic gender traps as I could have is because, you know, I couldn't play the sort of physical strength as security card that Sam sort of justifiably has to play here in order to stay alive, you know?
Yeah.
Was that,
Oh
was
no,
that
that's
it?
me.
Yep.
That's me in the corner.
That's me in the spot.
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Losing my religion. Trying to keep an eye on you, but I don't know if I can do it. I grew up on REM, folks. And more than just the sleep cycle.
What if that would have been their first, like, slogan? REM. It's not just a sleep cycle anymore.
Do they have a or did they have a slogan?
Leave your best REM slogans in
the chat
comments.
and or comments, depending on where you're watching this.
It should just be remember us, but the first 3 letters are capitalized.
That's pretty good. Is the REM reunion tour going to be called RIP?
Or just reunion.
Ooh.
Re-R-E-M.
Reminiscing.
REUM?
Rheumatism.
Rheumatism, baby.
But no, in terms of admitting weakness, because I think that's the kind of thing that, like, even looking at, like, economically, if doing something like that's like a talking point used to justify the elimination of, like, social services, where it's like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you don't need like, this just encourages people to sort of have, like, you're right, it is either Punch or Talk Smart. Punch or Talk Smart is my new manga series.
I'm actually going to start like a political debate show called Punch or Talk Smart, where whenever I feel like somebody's making a stupid point, I just until they talk smart.
Wouldn't that be Talk Smart or Punch?
Either order is fine.
That's true. One is catchier. And it's not the one that makes sense.
Did you know? Gaming.
But it's the kind of thing where, like, if you are cooperating, if you are letting people control with you, then it is the same as controlling over you. That is, I think. Oh no, I dashed right into that. There we go.
Must acquire additional sons.
How do you feel about what you just said in the context of like Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim is a movie wherein you must all work together or else the world dies, because Pacific Rim is a movie about climate change.
It's also very much in a like militaristic.
It is not a militaristic context, and I will tell you all of the reasons why.
Okay. Lay 'em on me.
They're very intentionally rangers that are protecting wildlife. They are protecting the human species and the world at large, because kaiju are not alien invaders as much as they are forces of nature. And they're very intentionally referred to as marshals and rangers as opposed to cadets and captains and colonels and the like.
I really like that, and I never really thought of sort of ranger in that context, but it occurs to me that like Power Rangers sort of does the same thing. Like,
Yes.
They're not power soldiers.
Yes.
Well, yes, Power Rangers.
Yes, Power Rangers. We're not talking Super Sentai,
Wait,
we're talking Power Rangers.
In Super Sentai, are they like explicitly soldiers?
No. But Sentai, as a word, is usually translated as warriors or warrior. The same sort of, and this is rudimentary, fragmented weeb Japanese, but it's the same sort of word as senshi in Sailor Senshi,
Which
in
usually gets
Sailor
translated
Moon.
into guardian, right?
Scout.
Yeah.
The Sailor Scouts is what this usually translates to.
Yeah. Okay, I can see how they got Ranger from that then.
But if I recall correctly, they're called that mostly because their outfits resemble the school outfits, which resemble sailor uniforms, which
Yeah.
resemble Navy
Mm-hmm.
military uniforms.
Yep.
So there's this weird way in which you're having your cake and eating it too.
So it is very much in a martial, I guess.
Well, it's like 2 or 3 degrees removed, though.
Yes.
Like, I don't get as much sort of military context as I do from, like, Power Rangers even. Because, like, there are Power Rangers that are, like, explicitly straight up cops. Like, there's a whole season where the Power Rangers are just literally space
Indeed,
cops.
there's multiple ones. There's the most recent, I don't know, again, this is not Power Rangers, it's Super Sentai, but the most recent Super Sentai is Lupin Ranger versus, I believe, Pat Ranger, where it's 2 different sets of Sentais, of warriors. One of them are phantom thieves, and the other one is the cops chasing them.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
And it's interesting. It's reportedly very good. I'm not all that into Toku. This is mostly stuff I've picked up through osmosis on my Twitter timeline from other people who are very into Toku.
I want to touch on Pacific Rim real quick.
Yeah, sorry, I
because-
cut you off.
No. So there are plenty of other reasons, but we can get into it later. Because one of the things that I think really solidified for me that Pacific Rim does a much better job of it. I don't think it does a perfect job of it. Because it
being not militarizing its mecha.
Yeah, not just not militarizing its mecha, but also whenever you're doing an alien invasion kind of story, you have to be very. It is so easy to just make it about oh no, the dangerous outside people as opposed to other outside forces, which is why I think Pacific Rim is so key. That it's about global warming. It's about environmental disaster, not other people are invading. Which is why it emphasizes so much this sort of international force and this global community that has to come together, because otherwise everyone but disproportionately the poor are going to be affected by it.
Yeah, that's also not to. I feel like I'm becoming a Game of Thrones apologist today. But like, I have significant, huge problems with Game of Thrones and its sort of reliance on both disability and sort of red culture as tragedy porn. But one of the things that it does really well is it spends the first 3-4 seasons in this European-style factionalism of who's going to come out on top, and then there's this ever-building drumbeat of also climate change is happening, and none of these people will survive. So, like, regardless of who wins, if they don't sort of renounce their sort of competitive conditioning before it's too late, they're all doomed anyway.
I can't speak to that because I haven't seen Game of Thrones. But to wrap this up and to hop back to Pacific Rim one last time, one of the things that made me realize how well Pacific Rim had done it is watching Pacific Rim Uprising, which throws all of the, like, pushing against militarism, pushing against the foreign otherness aside, and instead has these cadets being trained in this basically military base in like a boot camp kind of situation, in what is much more of a Saturday morning cartoonish version of that, but it is still a lot more. They are cadets and they are, you know, in sort of military rank as opposed to stuff like, you know, the specific chosen language of stuff like marshals and rangers.
So they needed to be a little more specific, right?
Yes. Yeah. Listen, I say this a lot, but Pacific Rim Uprising is the movie that everybody thinks Pacific Rim is. Okay, after a long day of fighting, the sundown meatpunks slowly settle down. The hot summer air is quiet, with no wind. The last of the bright beat... Someone else want to take this one over?
The last of the bright beats down heat, seemingly relentless even as the sky grows red. Sam and Cass are out scouting for meat scraps. Ed wanders off to observe the motions of the stars. Brad and Leanna are the only ones left at camp.
Who starts conversation? I vote Liana.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Hey, Brad, what are you doing?
Not much.
Working on mech stuff?
Look,
You should try adding some brass claws in there sometime.
Liana.
See, this is why we make a good team, kid. I can show you the ways of the world.
Ellipses.
What?
Did you just say the word ellipses?
Brad has no tact.
Tries to be straightforward, yeah.
Look, I don't appreciate when you call me kid. I know I look young because I'm trans, but I'm a goddamn adult, okay? But it seems no matter how much I explain this to you, it just doesn't get through. So how can I explain it to you that I'm not a fucking child? I spent a long fucking time getting to this point, and I sure as shit don't do it to get patronized constantly. By a person I barely even know.
Ellipses.
Well? We've been going drama before. Do we want to continue our dramatic route?
No.
Tries to be nice?
Yeah. Brad, you're a good kid, don't get me wrong, but
You just did it again.
What?
You just called me a kid again. 30 seconds after I asked you to stop. This is the shit I'm talking about. Are you just not listening, or are you actually just this fucking mean?
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck me? Fuck you! What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, I'll tell you what's wrong with me.
Hurt.
This is the third fucking time in my life I've had to give everything up. And it never gets easier. Not to mention I'm the one who put this group together and you all treat me like a fucking joke. I know I don't always get things right away, but I'm as smart at what I do. And you're right. How dare I, out of the kindness of my own heart, try and take you under my wing. So forgive me if I'm distracted and forget one little thing.
It's not one little thing, it's my fucking life. I worked hard to get to this point, and I'm not just gonna let you act like you're the only one hurting here. It's clear you don't respect me, so just fucking say it to my face.
Fine. Who screamed?
I wish there was a simultaneous button.
I think Brad screamed.
Yeah.
Ah! Fuck this. If you don't respect me, I'm gonna make you respect me. Fight me. Whoever loses has to leave the group. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Now you're speaking my language.
Wait, hold on, what? End of episode 3. Oh!
Alright, can I talk about this for a second?
Yes.
So, and I can't tell whether I adore this or don't like this at all, but that's sort of the axis that I'm usually on when I write things, and it really depends on how things play out from here. But a sort of interesting dynamic is that, so disabled people get condescended to about age a lot. Like, we're generally perceived to be way younger than we are. So, like, if on the one hand, this is like, I've had so many people do this to me that I'm sort of calloused over and used to it, so I'm not going to be like, I think you're overreacting when you bring up that same concern in a trans context. Like, that's great, and that's really good character development. If on the other hand, it's like, not thinking through, like, the perspective that someone like her might come to this with. But so, like, yeah, I don't know. I appreciate that they're at least going there, because I don't think there's a lot of media that talks about, either from a trans perspective and or a disabled perspective, the sort of weird spectrum that we put aging on based on minority status. But it's also easy to screw this up in small and big ways too, so I'm like really curious to see how that goes.
Yeah. On that note, I think we'll call
Save
that
and quit.
an episode.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
snuggle,
hey,
please.
we forgot to do the thing that I said that we should do.
What were you supposed to do?
I was gonna keep a timer, and every 10 minutes we like wrap up the YouTube episode.
Right. Nope.